Coming up on Mornings on the Hill, an annual event to raise money towards proper animal care returns to Syracuse.
One branch of stores files for bankruptcy and is closing all locations.
A popular music festival among students is making its comeback at SU.
All that plus your weather and orange sports coming up on this edition of Mornings on the Hill.
Good morning, I'm Isabel Flores. Thanks for joining us for our special extended edition of Mornings on the Hill.
And I'm Jeremy Lynch. Here's a look at today's top story.
Our top story this hour, University Union has announced its block party lineup.
Our Cheyenne Johnson joins us live with student reaction. Cheyenne?
Towards the end of the year, students are being burdened with assignments, projects, and finals. Every year, students look forward to the University Union's block party event that takes place here at the JMA Wireless Dome.
In the past years, artists such as Baby King, Travis Scott, and Gucci Mane have been the headline performers at the University Union's annual block party event. This concert gives students something to look forward to every year. Syracuse University students have been expressing their feelings towards the 2023 lineup and think they are being cut short this year.
What I'm most excited for Block Party is just, it's a nice time to like hang out with friends. You know, we don't get a lot of concerts that come around to the Syracuse campus. So it's just nice to, you know, be able to just relax, especially when finals and projects are due, just have a good time.
We spoke with student Evan Reese to get his thoughts.
First off, I'm from Atlanta. Faye Webster's from Atlanta, so I'm nice to see that they have an Atlanta artist. But she makes like kind of folk-y, jazzy music. Essentially, I don't really know what it is. I've listened to some of it. I wouldn't know what to categorize it as, but it's not party music. And then Amine is just so irrelevant. I mean, last year they had Baby Keem and Travis in 2 Chainz, and in the past they've had Khalid and Travis Scott. Those names are relevant. Amine is simply not relevant at the moment.
As Friday approaches, be sure to check out the event as doors open at 7 p.m. From Mornings on the Hill, I'm Cheyenne Johnson.
A growing number of Americans are struggling to pay their car loan, and this affects many students on campus as both vehicle prices and average monthly payments are soaring to all-time highs.
Our news reporter Yoki Tang is live in studio to tell you what's behind the trend and what you can do to get a better deal if you're in the market for a new car.
Morning, guys, and thank you, Jeremy and Isabel. A really great talk, and that's why I'm here to give you the answer. So today we're going a deep dive in the auto industry. And if you're looking for a new car in this month, this might not be a good news for you. Auto loan interest rates are on the rise, and that could mean higher costs for car buyers around Central New York, according to a recent report by Bankrate. The average interest rate for a new car loan rose to 4.12% in April 2023, and up from 3.98% in March. And this increase in rates comes amid rising inflation and signals from the Federal Reserve that it may start to raise interest rates soon. Chief economist at Moody's Analytics, Mark Zandi, said it's a serious time for people to pay attention with their loans.
That also is going to be very financially painful for a lot of households. So the financial pain and suffering that households are going through, that's not going to go away quickly. It's really important that you watch out for your debt. How much do you owe? Because if you lose your job or you get your hours cut back, your pay cut, then it's going to make it harder to service that debt, pay on that.
From a chart, we can see the percentage of vehicle payments is more than $1,000 a month has tripled in 4 years. More new car owners are paying as much as $1,000 a month. And in January 2019, new car payments over $1,000 a month made up roughly only 5% of sales. And that's why we can see there is a huge slope from here, which is just April, then the last, which is April this year than the last year, which is from the 2008. And in April 2023, only 4 years later, four-figure monthly payments ballooned to 70% of the new car market. Although increasingly longer loan terms may seem like an attractive option for car buyers looking for lower monthly payment, but the reality is that interest rates eat up time. This is why experts advise not only buyers, but also you who sitting in front of our show and planning a loan to consider short loan terms of 2.5 to 3 years, which could result in a significantly lower interest rate payment. And above is all the economic talk for today's Morning Hill. Economic talk for economics. I'm Yoki Tang. Back to you guys.
Thank you so much, Yoki. Another 5K run took place this weekend somewhere that might seem a bit unusual for your typical morning jog.
Our Mornings on the Hill reporter, Polina Shimonova, actually ran the race to find out more details. Polina?
That's right, Jeremy. The second annual zoo run took place at the Rosman Gifford Zoo on Saturday morning. Now, let's find out who was more excited about the 7 a.m. run, the runners or the animals. Today, everything was flipped at the Rosman Gifford Zoo. Our producer Alice Stanton says the animals were the spectators as she ran the 5K through the zoo. Alice was a part of the team called Orange You Glad It's Not a 10K, which consisted of various academic coordinators and tutors from our Syracuse athletic department. Here's how Justin Watt felt about running through the jungle on Saturday morning.
It was really cool. I waved at the elephants as I ran by, which was a good thing. I got to see the bear chilling in his hammock.
While the bear was still trying to wake up, he's got a great actor covering his shift at the zoo. And that's where the debate comes up. Do you stop and take a picture or not get distracted and finish first? 12-year-old Alexandra Dixon chose the second option.
I enjoy running a lot. I do cross country and I find it really fun.
Another winner from the second wave, Eric Goodrich, said he heard support not just from the fans in the stands.
It was really cool. It's like a couple of the birds were squawking at me. One of the tigers was kind of like prowling around. It was pretty cool to watch.
Encouraging signs took a fun turn using animal slang. Trunks up for our elephants, which Audrey McNally decided to support today.
Well, I started running 2 years ago at age 70. The first year I was in about 4 races, all 5Ks. I love the zoo. I'm a member of the zoo. And my team this year is called Pink Elephants on Parade.
It doesn't matter if you're 12 or 72, because in my heart, you are all the winners of this 5K on Saturday morning at 7 a.m. And if you're looking for more races, there is the 45th annual Mountain Goat Race, which is happening on May 7th, just around the Syracuse area. For Mornings on the Hill, I'm Polina Shimonova.
Thank you, Polina. The New York Attorney General's office is holding a statewide gun buyback program this weekend.
Our Matt Hazan joins us live with more details on how this affects Syracuse. Matt?
Thanks, Jeremy and Isabel. St. Lucy's Food Pantry on Gifford Street in Syracuse is one of 9 locations around the Empire State holding a gun buyback on Saturday. I caught up with Syracuse police to understand how this will work.
So we set up a place where basically we offer amnesty. So folks can they could bring in rifles, handguns, shotguns, whatever they have they'd like to turn in, and we'll give them gift cards for doing that in specific amounts depending on what they're turning over to us.
That's Syracuse Police Sergeant Thomas Blake. He says it's simple. If less guns are in circulation, less guns will be readily available to people and there'll be less violent crime. But in a state like New York with strict gun laws, it begs the question of where are these guns coming from?
Down south, it's much easier to get your hands on guns like this. So a lot of times what we're finding is that these guns are being transported here from further downstate, right? And so the other problem is we have legal gun owners. So unfortunately, sometimes they leave handguns in their unsecured cars and then they get stolen by people that are rifling through cars.
Blake says law enforcement will give different compensation depending on the type of gun. This includes $500 for an assault rifle or ghost gun, $150 for each handgun, but $500 for the first handgun turned in, $75 for a rifle or shotgun, and $25 for any replica gun or non-working firearm. This isn't the first time SPD has held a gun buyback. They actually did one last May at the same location on Gifford Street and recovered 240 firearms. They're expecting even more on Saturday. For Mornings on the Hill, I'm Matt Hassan.
Thanks, Matt. Just last week, Syracuse and the University of Tennessee had a national summit to discuss how to support nation service members. The conference happened right across the street from the Newhouse School at our National Veterans Resource Center.
That's where our reporter Wanshi Zhang is live this morning to tell us what happened. Wanshi?
Yes, the summit was held at the NVRC just right here behind me. And this two-day summit discussed several possible solutions to solve the recruitment challenges for veterans. The discussion gathered leaders from both the military and higher education. It mentions that U.S. Army's enlistments are down by 25%, and part of the problem is a disconnect with the armed forces.
One consequence of a volunteer military is ultimately a tiny percentage of the population serve on behalf of the larger population, and it's uncommon today for someone, for example, a Syracuse University student, to be able to point to anyone in their family group or their friend group who's actually served in the military.
Leaders have several possible solutions. Participants mentioned that it is necessary to change the narrative around veterans and do not make veterans viewed as outsiders in society. Improving higher education's access is another task they want to focus on. More resources for military-connected students are available at Syracuse University's website, veteran.syr.edu. For Mornings on the Hill, I'm Wanshi Zhang. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Wanshi. After last week's weather, this week has been back to normal here in Syracuse.
Our weather reporter, Jacob Bernardini, is here to tell us on how this morning is shaking up. Jacob?
Thanks, guys. It's a pretty typical morning here in Syracuse. I was just outside, and I have to say, it's pretty normal. It's 44 degrees right now. It feels like 40 outside. Pretty light wind, which is actually pretty good here for the hill. And we have a little bit of higher humidity. That's because there's some rain coming. I'll let you know more about this when we come back.
Thanks for that update, Jacob. Coming up on Mornings on the Hill, a dorm room staple has announced that it is closing its doors. We'll have more after the break. Time to check your weather for today.
Jacob Bernardini is in studio to have a look at your full weather forecast.
Thanks, guys. The weather is looking pretty good out there right now, 44 degrees. Pretty average weather. It's pretty cloudy out there, but relatively clear, shore weather, and pretty good visibility as well. You should expect pretty high humidity out there as well. That's because the rain is coming later on today, and that should be a big problem as it goes into tomorrow. Tomorrow we have a little bit better temperatures, but a little bit more rain. It's going to rain pretty much all day until the evening, so make sure you have your umbrella or a light rain jacket out there while you're going out. 40 degrees around average there, so light jacket, jeans, sweatpants should be appropriate for that kind of weather. As we get later into the week, though, we should see a little bit better temperatures, but still a lot of rain and clouds. Pretty typical April weather going on right there. You should see on Thursday, it'll be 58 degrees, the definitely most sunny day. Low chance of rain right there. On Friday, 64 degrees, by far the best weather day of the week. 40% chance of participation go, and that follows into Saturday with the 59-degree day and around a half chance of rain. So make sure you have an umbrella on you this week. It'll definitely help out if you get trapped while you're studying out for finals. For Mornings on the Hill, I'm Jacob Bernardini with your weather. Jeremy and Isabel, back to you.
Thanks for those tips, Jacob. The Bed Bath & Beyond located in DeWitt has officially announced it's packing up. Starting yesterday, April 24th, the store will begin the closing process.
This comes as the company announced it was filing for bankruptcy last week with an estimated $10 billion in estimated assets. The chain was one of the first big box retailers across the United States and served as a one-stop shop for many college students making the transition to dorm life. In total, more than 250 stores will be shut down across the country.
Coming up on Mornings on the Hill, we will have the latest updates on many Syracuse football players, hoping to hear their names called at this year's NFL Draft.
Good morning, I'm Cyril Correa with your Orange Sports Update here on Mornings on the Hill. The NFL Draft is 2 days away in Kansas City, and Syracuse has quite a few players who are projected to be selected in quite a while, whether it's Michael Jones, Garrett Williams, or Matthew Bergeron. But one player who has people buzzing is Sean Tucker. Tucker had his own pro day yesterday, which is unusual, it being so close to the draft. Tucker couldn't perform in the Combine or Syracuse's pro day in March because of health reasons. But following his medical clearance, he held his own pro day and he showed out. He repped 29 bench press reps, 4 more than anyone at the Combine, and leapt 38 inches in the vertical, which would have tied for third for running backs. While Tucker has a lot of buzz, Coach Bajer is excited for all of his players who will be selected.
Garrett and Matthew, obviously they're really high on everybody's list. Sean's right there. Michael, I expect good things to happen with him. We're hoping that Rhino will be in that situation as well. And also the free agent part of it. You know, when you get drafted in the top 3 rounds, you should make the team. The 4th round is kind of, okay, they could keep you, not keep you. But when you get 5, 6, 7, a lot of those guys get let go. So it's not a guarantee.
Our Mark Budd is live this morning with us to discuss the upcoming NFL draft, including a mock draft of where he thinks SU players will go. Mark, who are some Syracuse players that you have your eyes on, and where do you think they'll go?
That's right. Cyril, I have my eyes on certain Syracuse players, and the first one that I see being drafted is Matthew Bergeron, the versatile offensive lineman. He's a great plug-and-play fit with any team. I see Bergeron being drafted in the 2nd or 3rd round, with the potential to be a first-round pick if a team decides to make, an out-of-the-box pick. This next player I see being drafted for SU is Garrett Williams. He suffered an injury this season, but I could see him being between the 3rd and 4th round. And another player, I see Williams potentially being there in round 4, Williams due to the injury, and then Sean Tucker is another player I expect to be drafted between the 5th and 7th round in teams of need of a running back.
And you made your own mock draft. Show us what you got.
I did make my own mock draft. So I pretended that I was the Bengals, and I ended up drafting Matthew Bergeron in the 2nd round. I think the Bengals could all use some more offensive line protection to protect Joe Shiesty, their quarterback. They want to make it back to the Super Bowl. And then I have the Bengals again drafting Sean Tucker later on. They need a running back. Samaje Perine just went to the Broncos, so to get another running back would be very helpful to them.
Cool. Thank you, Mark. That's going to do it for our NFL draft coverage. Jeremy, Isabel, back to you guys.
Thanks, guys. Still to come here on Mornings on the Hill. Block Party is just a few days away. We'll have more on the lineup of performers. Stay with us. That story and more just ahead. Now it's time for your entertainment news.
Our Cole Kirsch joins us live from the studio to catch us up on what's new. Tell us what's new, Cole.
Thanks, guys. As Cheyenne Johnson mentioned earlier in the newscast, that the University Union is proud to announce the 2023 Block Party. The performance will headline Amine with support from Faye Webster this Friday evening at 7:30. Amine is a Grammy-nominated rapper who has more than 10 million monthly listeners on Spotify. He gained popularity with the single Caroline, which has more than 700 million plays. He'll be joined by Faye Webster and services combining the performance with indie artists and pop rock tunes. General admission is $20 and floor tickets are $25 at the Dome. Make-A-Wish Central New York and American High have come together to create the film Marshall Man. The film will grant Marshall Sapello's wish of directing and starring in his very own movie. The doors will open at 5:30 this Saturday at the Landmark Theater, followed by a Q&A with Marshall and the team behind the making of his movie. April 29th is also World Wish Day, which is an annual Make-A-Wish event that commemorates more than 40 years of granting life-changing wishes for children with critical illnesses. Admission to Marshall Man is free. And that's all we have for entertainment. Back to you, Jeremy and Isabel.
Thank you so much, Cole. Now, finally, this morning, everybody's favorite cookies will be leaving Central New York next week. The New York and Pennsylvania Council of the Girl Scouts of America announced that it would be ending the sale of the cookies in the region next week.
If you have yet to get a box, there's still a few chances to grab a box. You can find locations on the Girl Scout Cookie Finder located on the Girl Scout Cookies website.
Wow, this is so cool, Jeremy. I don't know about you, but I really grew up with Girl Scout
Oh,
cookies.
so did I.
Yeah.
My family would get them every single time. They're so good.
And Thin Mints were my favorite. I don't know about you.
I like the tagline. It's a combination of chocolate and peanut butter. Just, it's so good. And now I want one.
I love that. Well, that's going to do it for our first half hour this Tuesday here on our special extended edition of Mornings on the Hill. I'm Isabel Flores. Follow us on social media.
I'm Jeremy Lynch. Thanks for watching, Orange Nation. Stay tuned for our next half hour right here on OTN. We'll be right back.
Good morning, I'm Yoki Town. Thanks for joining us for Mornings on the Hill.
And I'm Mark Budd. One of our top courses here at Newhouse involves master storytelling. The class is led by Professors Dotson and Rose and helps students learn the art of long-form news stories. We're featuring a number of those stories this morning, including a piece by Louise Wraith, who introduces us to Amanda Kavanaugh, an aspiring young artist who is making a difference on stage and in life.
Amanda Kavanaugh was never meant to wait in the wings. She lives from curtain to curtain.
I love it on stage. I love it. Yeah.
She sings, dances, acts, and tries to direct her adult theater group, the Front Row Players.
Amanda wants to be in charge, and she definitely wants to be front and center in all ways. You totally lied.
Amanda's mom, Deb, wanted her and her friends to stand front and center in the spotlight, so she started the Front Row Players.
They wanted it to be their show. I mean, they want to be the stars.
Amanda was born with Down syndrome and spent a lot of time in hospitals and doctors' offices as a child. She underwent heart surgery, intubation that damaged her vocal cords, and she struggled to breathe on her own.
I mean, we were in and out and in and out and in and out of intensive care, on ventilators, off ventilators, like with all kinds of challenges.
Until doctors breathed new life into Amanda, they put a tracheal tube in her throat, and she could sing.
Literally, the minute they put the trach in and she recovered from the surgery, it was like she just took off because she could breathe.
That changed not only Amanda's life, but her parents, too.
You know, learning that I can't control it was so much fun for me.
Along Amanda's journey, her own mother's intuition would change her life forever. Deb just knew Amanda was meant to be in theater, even when Amanda didn't realize it herself.
For years, she wouldn't even go into an auditorium. So it was one of those things where I was always fighting her. And then finally, I think it just clicked in her head that she realized that if she was on stage performing, like she was in the spotlight, and she just loves that.
Amanda's not just the star. She wants to help others shine too.
She does want to be the director too. She does think it's her space, like it's her, she's in charge. So Shannon has to kind of remind her every now and then that,
All right.
I'm in charge, you are not in charge.
That a girl.
Thanks, Shannon. They're just constantly interested in doing new and exciting things, and they really just want to be here and rehearse and perform.
Shannon Tompkins is the creative director for the Front Row Players.
Okay, Shannon!
She picks shows that are big enough to support 30-plus actors.
Some of whom don't talk at all or often, and some of whom sing and dance and speak quite well.
Sometimes the spotlight is all they need. Cheryl Coughlin's daughter, Kathleen, hardly ever spoke.
I've had family members come to her shows and cry because they can't remember hearing her say that many words. The whole family has been changed because of Front Row Players, for real.
Because of two women who decided the show must go on.
Mom, that's me.
Yes, I do.
Amanda's story is a medical miracle.
Her physiology that she was born with was contrary to life.
She found a new prescription for life.
Oh my God!
She brings joy in that she finds joy in a lot of things.
In Manlius, Louise Rath, Mornings on the Hill.
What a beautiful story for Amanda telling us never give up. And in Syracuse, New York, one man's mission to make a positive impact on his community has been ongoing for over 2 decades. Lawrence Eagle collects discarded cans from rice placed in the city and then recycles them to raise money for cancer research and local charities. But it's not just about the money. Journey began with a desire to make a difference in people's lives after losing his mom and best friend to cancer. And I will tell you more stories on this guy's experience and how he impacted the central New York area. and the pile of discarded cans to the man for whom those cans were treasure more valuable than money.
I can only give the best that I can give.
For over 20 years, Lawrence Siegel has been on a mission to make a positive impact in his community. Siegel collecting cans from different places at CNY, and he brought these tiny cans to the recycle station. His mission goes beyond just raising money. He's motivated by desire to make a difference in people's lives, and he's done just that.
I want to make a difference in my community with the blood drives and the can drives.
Siegel lost his mom and his best friend to cancer.
Very upsetting to watch somebody you love and care about go through metastatic cancer of the colon, breast, and prostate and be really helpless.
Those deaths became the darkest moments of his life, when Siegel realized how powerless mankind was in the face of disease, and in particular his inability to help alleviate the suffering of his friends and family.
Somebody needed to step up and fund cancer research the way it needed to be funded.
So Siegel started collecting cans to raise the money. He was done that for 2 decades.
It's from all of the sadness and tragedy, I'm trying to turn it into something positive to help other people.
Lawrence, come here. Come here, Lawrence.
Siegel turned down celebrity to collect cans. He gave up the chance to become famous in LA.
I was working on the game show The Price is Right with Bob Barker, and my friend who was the announcer, Rod Roddy.
How long have you been on the show? Coming up on 2 years. Almost 2 years. He came out here from Ithaca College as an intern, did a great job. We hired him, and he's gone downhill ever since. No, you're doing a great job.
The moment his friend Rod Roddy died of cancer.
I was with him that whole time, and I got very upset. I had to make a choice between my career, which was going well at that point. I was in the Directors Guild. I had a good career in television going, but I decided that my friend's life was more worthwhile and that I could make a bigger impact in trying to help him than I could on a television show.
Siegel returned to his hometown, Syracuse, New York, to organize blood drives and search for solutions. Siegel's work has made a significant impact in his community. He's raised more than $400,000 to the local charities. But it's not just about the money. Siegel's experience has inspired others to make a difference and get involved in their own communities. Although Siegel lost his family and friends, now he is helping many others and inspiring many others all across the country.
Syracuse is where I'm from. I want to make a difference in my community with the blood drives and the can drives, and that's why I came back to my hometown of Syracuse.
Siegel believes what he did now is to helping more and more people for the house. Even the power of him is small, he knows that the power of accumulation is great.
I really think that that's what everything's about in life.
Although Siegel lost his family, he has more family in USA, in Syracuse, around himself.
And you have to decide, is it about money and fame and about your career, or is it about helping other people?
Around the world. From Mornings on the Hill, I'm Yokita. A really touchy story for us, and the next story helps to celebrate someone who has been part of the Syracuse family for many years.
Our Isabel Flores explains how his legacy will live long at SU.
Good morning, and that's right. George Lampert has been a talking point at Syracuse University since even before 2007. He started out as a custodian right here in the Newhouse School and has since become more involved on campus in several different ways. Let's take a look.
The JMA Wireless Dome, home of the Syracuse Orange and a loud house when it comes to sports. But who takes care of the loud house when it isn't so loud? When it's virtually silent? George Lampert is 62 years young and is part of the kitchen staff at the stadium.
I still use the other one too, right?
I retired as a custodian, and I got a job at washing dishes at the Carrier Dome.
His boss, Michael Bomasudo, says George is a pleasure to work with.
George is a breath of fresh air. Super confident, hardworking. If you ask him to do something, he does whatever he has to do to get it done, and he's very particular on how he does it.
When George is off work, he's furthering his passion for photography in his at-home studio, working in a different kind of silence.
I did the whole apartment. I put all rugs in I ripped up the old rugs, and I bought the squares and put out squares, and then I put the carpet in so the backdrop was thick, and then I painted it orange.
George enjoys taking portraits and is always looking for new models to practice his skills.
I want to say, wow, that's a great photo. I don't know. It was so cold, it was 4 degrees.
George also really likes to travel to world-renowned locations to get the most authentic shots possible. And he has a habit of looking at things in a way nobody else can. George has some big dreams of becoming an assistant photographer in New York City and eventually owning his own company. So he's making sure to use resources that are just a walk away from where he works. To many familiar with Syracuse University's campus, the Dorothy Ilgen Schaefer Art Building is just that, an art building. But to George, it's part of a larger mission. He's a student. Before he settles in, though, George is taking some time to relax after an 8.5-hour shift at the Dome.
Sometimes I'm so tired, I don't know how I do it. Sometimes I do half the stuff in sleep.
George is exhausted, but he's smiling because of all he's accomplished and what is still to come. Growing up, George experienced a traumatic, life-threatening event on a motorcycle that contributed largely to the person he is today.
I had open when I was 15, and I couldn't finish high school.
But now, George is finally getting his bachelor's degree after years of hard work. His photography professor, Yasser Agur, has seen George's talent firsthand.
He doesn't go about it in like looking at a textbook, and he goes about it through a kind of instinct, a very intuitive process. I think a lot of people wouldn't necessarily take that route. He just has a idiosyncratic kind of way of working.
And he knows George has been wanting this for a long time.
It's exciting. I mean, it's like he's pushed through it. It's been, like I said, many years. I think it's been kind of a lifelong dream for him, and for him to finally get to the finish line, I'm sure he's going to be really excited.
And the stadium just won't be the same without him.
Gonna miss him when he does leave in a couple weeks, but other than that, I think he's a good guy.
George's colleagues agree he's a very hardworking individual and wish him the best in his future. If you see him on campus, make sure to say hi and congratulations. For Mornings on the Hill, I'm Isabel Flores. Mark Nyoki, back to you.
Thanks, Isabel. Coming up here on Mornings on the Hill, we'll shine a spotlight on a single member of the Syracuse synchronized skating team. Stick with us, be back soon. Welcome back to Mornings on the Hill.
Nicole Lefiandra has the story of the Syracuse University synchronized skating team and one member who stands out on the ice for not wanting to be put in a box.
Ice skating is difficult, especially when your team members are different from you.
I quit because some of the girls on the team were actually kind of really homophobic.
Meet Ames, a member of Syracuse University's synchronized skating team. They're the only non-binary member on the team.
I found people that I liked to skate with. It wasn't just about being competitive, it was about me liking the sport.
They said skating can be a toxic place, especially for those questioning their identity.
One of the girls would give lap dances to people in the locker rooms, to try to turn on the gay people. Which is it's a little messed up, right?
That all changed when Ames went to Syracuse to skate.
I'd always wanted to skate in college. That was my goal. Literally one of the reasons I came to Syracuse was because it has a team.
Ames also said they were led to believe what a non-binary person was. Instead, they created their own definition.
It's me, I'm me. I'm not really, I don't want to be put into a box like that,
And now they take every chance they can get to express themselves.
I feel like I just haven't really had the chance to explore my masculine side in skating. And it's yeah, I'm comfortable wearing dresses, but it's also am I really? Or I wear the pants in my relationship with skating.
Nicole LaFiandra, Mornings on the Hill.
May 1st is National College Decision Day. College applicants must decide which school they attend in the fall. Ellis Stanton is in the studio to tell us how one student ended up at Syracuse.
Deciding which college to attend is often a difficult decision. There are multiple factors that go into their choice: accreditation, finances, location. But for senior Anthony Ruggiero, his biggest concern was family.
Come back in to the vlog.
In only a few weeks, he will be walking across the stage. But 5 years ago, Anthony Ruggiero had no idea he would end up here.
I only applied to Syracuse because I had a fee waiver. I really kicked it as a last-minute option and kicked it to the curb.
Originally, it was the waves that were calling him. He wanted to see for himself if the West Coast is actually the best coast. He had his plane ticket booked for Malibu.
I know a lot of times people go away to school, they're like, I want to get away from family, I want to do this, or I want to try and expand myself. And I feel like I wanted to go away to expand myself and see a new place because all my family just stayed in Utica.
But instead of traveling over 2,000 miles west, he only traveled 50. He gave up on going across the country and stayed in the single-digit degree weather, all for his grandfather.
So it's kind of difficult. Like, you want to go to a new place, but you want to take care of your family. And I was raised on the part of taking care of your family. So that's why I wanted to stay close to him and stay close to home, because he took care of me when my mom and dad were away. I have to take care of him when he's getting an old age.
Growing up, his grandfather would watch him when his mom and dad went to work. Together, they were a team.
He taught me how to fish with my dad, taught me how to cook, because I'd be over the house with them, and I'd be like 6, 7 years old making pizza, making pasta with them.
On the weekends his freshman year, Anthony would get in his car and drive an hour to be home with his grandpa. But this decision didn't come without doubts.
A lot of the time, even at times, especially the first semester freshman year, I was thinking of transferring just because it was a tough situation to get thrown into. I wanted to go back out west, but then I just wanted to stay close to my grandpa, and I said, all right, I'll stick it out another semester, see where that takes me.
Anthony knew that his time with his grandfather was limited and that he would have to find a new team. And after sticking out another semester, he did. But not with the sport that he played growing up for boys. Softball helped him pave his way here at Syracuse.
When I was a freshman, I tried out for the club baseball team, ended up making that, and then softball's first ever manager in their history, Dax, came up and asked me, hey, you seem like a good guy, you want to be the softball manager with me. All right, we're at the airport, we're traveling to Charlotte. Congratulations,
yes,
it's too early for this. All right, we're on the bus post-game.
Post-game.
I said yes because I feel like it would give me something to do. I wasn't the one to go out anyways, and I just said, you know what, like, I go home on the weekends anyway. This will get me to stay, it'll get me to be around more people, and also it'll get me out on the weekends, but for a better cause.
After his freshman year, his grandfather passed away. But the bonds he made with his new team helped the calls of the ocean stay distant.
So softball made me stay. My family at home turned into a family at school. And the good thing is I found something I can work for, something I can stay around and be helpful.
And Anthony doesn't hope to leave the softball world anytime soon. He has applied to graduate positions to colleges all over the country to one day help him become a coach. Soon the Waves may be finally calling his name again. For Mornings on the Hill, I'm Ella Stanton.
Anthony is still waiting to hear back from coaches and employers. He says if he receives a graduate position, it will be a tremendous accomplishment given the short amount of time he has been around the sport. Both the softball team and the newsroom are all cheering him on. For Mornings on the Hill, I'm Ella Stanton.
Thank you for sharing the story, Alice. Still proud to come here on Mornings on the Hill, one of the most popular of all students here at the Newhouse, joining us to talk about how it all started.
Upright opening on Marshall Street.
Welcome back to Mornings on the Hill. And this morning, we're joined by a guest who's known by most of us at Newhouse, Thomas Wilson from Thomas on the Town. Thomas, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome, Mark.
Thomas, you are best known for your video segment. But first, tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm known over the campus. Everyone knows who I am, and when I go out, they always say, "Oh, that's Thomas."
How did it all start?
So it was me and Meg. We came together, and she said, "We're gonna fit a show together for you." So here we are.
Let's take a look now at Thomas on the Town from Popeyes.
We're now outside of Popeyes, and we're asking everyone, what do they think about the new Popeyes opening on Marshall Street? What do you think about the new Popeyes opening on Marshall Street?
I really think it's a good addition to the chain of restaurants here. I think it'll definitely bring a lot of job opportunities to locals in the area, and I think it's a good, it's a good range of diversity of food for the students.
I'm very excited. I love Popeyes, and I think it's much needed on Marshall Street.
Thank you.
My name is Eric Hicks. I'm the manager here at J. Michael Shoes.
What did you think about the Popeyes opening on Marshall Street?
Well, I'm excited to have something open at all because it's been a long summer with Acropolis have closed, Starbucks is closed, the tea house upstairs is closed. So I'm pretty excited to have something open that might drive some foot traffic.
The new Popeyes on Marshall Street is opening Friday, November 11 at 9 a.m. We are live at the grand opening of Popeyes on Marshall Street. Now that chicken from Popeyes. What do you think the new Popeyes will bring to the campus?
I mean, besides the best chicken sandwich in the whole country, or maybe the whole world, but we're going to bring a new flavor to the area. It's really exciting with our new design, our new menus. So we're real excited about what it's going to bring to SU and to the whole community. And we have the right colors, so it just made perfect sense. So we're excited to be here on Marshall Street.
What is your favorite thing to order?
By far, it's the chicken sandwich. Like I said, it's the best chicken sandwich out there. So if you haven't had one, you got to try one. It really is the best.
Thank you. We just got some breaking news. We just got some Popeye shirts. Now I've got chicken from Popeyes. I'm about to order my chicken tenders from Popeyes.
Number 6 for Thomas.
We will report back to you after my chicken tenders. We went to the grand opening of the new Popeyes on Marshall Street. I ordered the chicken tenders, and I got a lemonade drink, and it tastes very good. Make sure you go get your Popeyes, and we see you next time on Thomas on the Town.
Thanks for sharing this wonderful story, Thomas. And that is going to do it for us this Wednesday here on Voice on the Hill. I'm Yoki Tang. Follow us on social media.
I'm Mark Budd. Thanks for watching, Orange Nation.